she came to us to do a massage candle, which I have never done before. How long has it been now? How long have you been like going through this process with me?
I don't know. It happened so slow, but so fast.
Right, because I hadn't done it, so we had to develop the whole thing for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Although I had the fragrances because I was developing the oil for it.
Yeah.
You selected from the oils that we have, and we developed all the oil, the wax, and so forth.
Right. So I haven't told anyone yet on my social media. Maybe by the time this is out. Actually, definitely by the time this podcast is out. But essentially, it's actually right here. It's a massage oil candle, and then each candle contains a mystery crystal inside. And it's inside copper, which copper is really special to me because copper is a conductor for energy. So this kind of came out of me doing moon circles with my friend, and then I kind of wanted to put the concept into a physical product. So it's kind of the idea for this.
My big question, now what?
Exactly, that's this like, whole podcast.
Right, well, like, you know, you can develop a fantastic product,
yeah.
And then the question becomes, like, what do you do with it now? Like,
yeah.
How do you get it out there? What do you do? Like, what's your intention now, and how do you go about, in your mind,
totally.
What's going on? Only because I've been doing it for so long, I know
yeah.
all the pitfalls.
Right.
So, what's your game plan with this? Like, how do you propose going out and doing what?
So, I don't know. My whole concept, like everything I've ever done in my life, is like everything is kind of figure-outable. Like, you just take it a step at a time and do one thing and just figure it out. And even if you have no idea, like sometimes you mess up, but I'm glad we met because I would mess this up really bad.
Well, I mean, you said you're going to go to a store.
Yes.
And do what?
I'm going to bring my candle to
Cold,
the store.
right? You're going to go with a bag.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's good, okay.
Well, I know the people from like herb shops
Okay.
that I got all my herbs from my moon circle candle.
Okay.
So by the time this is out, hopefully even retailers, guys. So they're like small herb shops like in my neighborhood that they're kind of like pretty mom and pop.
Okay.
There's also one of them in particular that only sells products made by female artists.
Oh.
So I felt like that would be a really good fit. It's a crystal shop.
Do you have a company that's female? Like, do you have a company set up or no?
No, the store I'm talking about.
No, yourself.
Me?
Because you have advantages, you know that. If you are a female set up company.
Oh, like an LLC?
Yeah, if you're a female
No,
set
I
up.
don't have an LLC.
Just so you know, if you're set up as a female company, a lot of businesses will bring you in because of that. Side note.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna walk it to them, and then you're gonna kind of how do you collect money?
So I'm gonna walk in and I'm gonna say, hey, do you have someone I can email or talk to? I have this product, kind of explain it. I kind of know the people at the store, and then they'll probably like give me an email, or if the person's there, they can talk about it.
That's a good idea. Like the beginning is always like that,
Yeah.
and then you're gonna end up, you're gonna end up making brochures for this because you can't get to the people
Ooh,
who are.
step one brochure.
Step one.
Step one brochure.
No, you know what your step one should be is how to collect the money. The minute you walk in, how do you collect the money?
You think I can collect money from first walk-in?
If they're gonna take the product,
Okay.
why not? When you bought this, you sent me this, right?
Yeah.
The copper cup.
Yeah.
Did you just not buy it on the spot?
I did.
Like you paid for it
Right.
on the spot. So why shouldn't they pay for it when you let it go? Simple.
Yeah.
So really, why shouldn't they pay for it when you leave it on their shelf?
Yeah.
Why would you chase your own money?
Right.
Right?
That's
So these days everybody makes it so easy that you have a little square, you set up a Square account, and they have a little gadget that you swipe a card.
Okay.
Real simple. And then within 24 hours the money is in your account. The problem that you're trying to avoid is you don't want to go chase these people later.
Right.
You don't want to call them because it creates bad vibes.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, when am I going to get my money? When am I going to get my money? And if it sells well, now you don't have to first collect and then give them again.
Right.
You have to be careful with those things. Like it's a basic, like if you go on Square, you have it, you walk in, it's a little gadget like this, they swipe it on your phone, and you're paid. You walk out. You go to the next one, you do the same thing, and then you've got a little bit of a momentum. That's your try as you go.
So how would you walk into a store?
First of all, you got to know the store well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the one thing that I will tell you unequivocally, you shouldn't sell anything. You should be providing them with something that's important for them.
Okay.
Right? Their store. What you're looking for is you have to understand the store's customer. And if the store's customer, if you have a good vibe with the store's customer, and you are bringing something to the store that says, look, I think your customers might love this, then they'll buy it from you.
Right.
But if you're pushing a product like, hey, I got this, help me out, like, try it for me, then you're being selfish. You're like, you're doing something for yourself.
Totally.
But as long as you're thinking about them, are they the right place? Are you giving them too much? Are you giving them too little? Try to give them only 3 pieces. Let them try it out. But it's more about the business. Your job is to worry about the business and their business's customer.
Yeah.
If you understand that, you're servicing that customer that they are curating to bring in.
Right.
That's how I would do it. Say,
Okay.
I have something that your customer
Where you
might
can
like.
just walk in with your candle. I have something your customer might like, and just gift it to them.
Well, yes and no, because if there's somebody behind the register that is who's
Right.
who's not the right person.
Assuming you're talking to the right person.
A lot of times I would try that. You'll get the hang of it. You said something very important. Trial by error.
Right.
Try it, and then you're gonna say, okay, let me have your card. You might go in and say, let me have the card, and then you take the card. You take some great photos of this thing, and you say, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. Send them an email with a beautiful picture of the product, how it's all good, and then say, hey, I'm gonna stop by. If you're in, I'd love to see you for 2 seconds. No pressure, right?
Okay.
So an email with a picture, get them predisposed mentally about what they're seeing, right? You do it cold, you might get somewhere, but it's a lot harder because they might be in the middle of a customer.
Right.
They might be not in the right mood.
Right.
They might be, this is beginning of the month, which rent is due. Gotta be careful because then they're not gonna, they're like, you're the last person they're thinking about. They're more thinking about what am I gonna sell.
Wow, that's a really good tip. I wasn't even thinking beginning of the month.
Sure, think about your credit card.
Yeah.
Do you spend on the last 2 days of your credit card cycle?
No.
Why is that? Because you just want 2 more days.
Well, I don't really think about it, but yeah, I guess.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
Between rent, payroll, electric bills.
Everything's at the beginning of the month.
Yeah, so once that's paid.
What's the best week? Like 3rd week?
No, there's no best week. It's like 2nd week is kind of like that's your sweet spot to say, but you don't know when their credit card closes. You just don't. And then what you do is you send them a reminder if you walk in and they show an interest, right?
Right.
And they say this is not the time. This is a very subtle hint for you that almost like don't come back is simple. Don't come back.
Yeah.
But if you walk in and they're like, this isn't the right time for me, there's an underlying current that says, I'm interested, but I just don't want to tell you why I'm not buying today.
Okay.
And it's a lot of times it's the money isn't there. They're a lot of mom and pop shops.
Right.
This is what they are. Your job is to help them pay their rent.
Right. Totally.
Right? And if this thing is selling, they're coming back to you a number of times. Because why? Because it pays their rent.
And once they're in the store, what are some, I guess, how did you first get your candles in the store?
Just like that. A lot of trials. A lot of emailing, going to shows.
Did you know what you were doing at the beginning?
That's a tough question because I have a long history, yes. The answer is yes, but I still took your route. Your personal route that you're taking as a startup, that's exactly the route that I took as well.
Wow, this is a startup.
Of course it is.
I know, just weird to think about. I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur one day. And then my friend was like, you are? I'm like, oh yeah, good point.
Wait a second, you took the risk of buying it, you took the risk of making it, you invested the money to prepare the product, you're ready to walk into a store and get your first pay out of this thing.
Right.
Right? Think about it, if you sell, right, a certain number of these, you're going to get your money back. Right? And then you're going to start saying to yourself, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
How can I scale it? How am I going to get to places I can't walk into? So then there are the internet is a big place. When I say not direct to consumer is one place. Wholesaling on online is huge. Going to shows is huge. Doing trunk shows is huge. You've got to have your social presence on Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest. Because a lot of people, by the way, do you have a good understanding of Pinterest?
I would say from a user standpoint, not from a business standpoint.
So here's a question: why do you use Pinterest?
For healthy recipes and inspo.
Right, but what do you do with that recipe?
Make it.
Okay, but you compile it into a board at first,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I
So,
turn
okay,
it.
think about it, right? So you compiled it into a board, and then you went and revisited another time,
Right.
right? So which means that that's your library.
Yeah.
Pinterest is the same way. If somebody wants this, they might not buy it today, it's a long game. They'll put it on a board for themselves and say, hey, when the time is right, I'm gonna be healthy and so forth. I'm feeling healthy, therefore, and I wanna feel less stressed, I wanna feel more zen. They will curate it into their board.
Okay.
But now you're in their psyche.
Mhm.
Pinterest is super for that. It's a long game. It's not like Instagram where they're gonna buy it on the spot.
Right.
Instagram they're gonna buy it on the spot. Facebook they're gonna buy it. Online they're gonna buy it on the spot.
Right.
But all those places you gotta be.
Right.
All those places you gotta be. And in a very strong way.
Yeah.
Right?
I have a question. So I'm sure like a few people are probably in this similar. I know a lot of my followers have their own wellness blogs or like different kind of blogs or just on Instagram. So I just created like a page on my Health by Valerie website for like shop the candles.
Okay.
Do you think I need its own website?
No, as long as there's a place
Right. But I
to
need
shop.
intentcandles.com. I can just
No.
use Health by Valerie.
if on Instagram, if you can swipe up and land there
Yeah.
and shop at that moment, the answer is that's all you need.
Okay.
That's all you need, because somebody just needs an easy way to shop,
Right.
the easiest way to shop,
Right.
and then that's it. Yeah.
What are some things that you spent, I think, in the beginning, some things that you say spend a lot of time on, and some things that people spend too much time on that they shouldn't?
First of all, there's never enough time that you spend with customer service.
Okay. I know you're big on that, which I love.
Yeah, customer service is, you gotta spend an enormous amount of time. Engagement is an enormous amount of time. And a lot of people make the biggest mistake to overthink something and try to get it perfect when it doesn't need to be.
Or just ask the customer instead of like polls and everything. I know a lot
Not
of
necessary.
companies.
Yeah, but today,
Yeah, trial and error.
and just take it to the store. If they say, I don't like your price, and you say, sometimes, you might price it too low. That's a problem too.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I brought that to your attention.
Yeah.
You were like, I'm gonna price it here. And I said, no, that's too low because it's not.
And then it makes your product look bad.
First of all, this is a heavy product,
Yeah.
right? It's very heavy. It's sizable. It's not like a little.
It's really good quality.
Everything it's up there, right?
Right. It's
As
massage
an
oil, has a
right.
crystal, like everything.
So pricing it right. So people overthink about getting everything just right. I'm not gonna take it out until I have the box right, until I have this right, until I have that right, and everything else right. My answer is, take it out, put it in a store, get your relationships going while you're perfecting it.
Right.
You're never gonna stop perfecting anything.
Right.
It's just never gonna stop.
Yeah.
So why not start? There's an old
Totally.
saying, 95% on shelf is better than 100% nowhere.
I like that. And that's how I started my podcast, like I didn't know how to start a podcast, anything, like, should I start a podcast, like what, like, just so many doubts and so many reasons not to came up, and I was like, whatever, in 10 years I'm gonna cringe anyway.
Yeah, exactly. That's what most people do. They're afraid.
Right.
They're afraid of what other people are going to say. They're afraid that they're embarrassed. They're afraid
Yeah.
they're going to make a mistake. So what?
Yeah,
So what?
exactly.
Which is the same thing. And you know what? When you go to a store and you're selling something and you screw up, you better tell the store owner, you know what? I thought I did the right thing, and if I have to refund you, refund the money. Take the
Yeah.
hit and refund it. You'll get goodwill a lot better that way than if you just try to, because they smell your shit.
Yeah.
Like everybody smells the bull.
Yeah.
So don't give them bull.
What about just walking in as like a 21-year-old girl? Don't you think?
Why is that an issue?
Who is this? Like,
Why is
where
that
did she
ever an
come
issue?
from? Because like I feel like I look like I'm 16.
Why is that an issue?
Because like, I feel like it's, I don't know, just being super young, kind of might throw people off.
But you're not answering. Like, why is it an issue though? In your head, why is that a problem?
Because you look inexperienced.
Oh, okay. Right. So if you have a lot of experience and you're only 19, what happens then?
Nothing, but you kind of have to be aware that it comes across like, who is this person, right? No? It's just in my head.
It's there you go.
Okay.
That's
Good
right.
answer.
It's in your head, and it's the
Yeah.
only place it is, because if you walk in, look, there are a lot of 17-year-old who got into the U.S. government's hacking in their computer system.
Really?
Well, the best hackers in the world who got arrested work for the government now, but they're like 17-year-olds because they think outside the box.
Nice.
Right? So think about it. Software is written.
Good company.
Right. Think about it. Software is written by adults
Right.
who are now mature. A kid comes along and is thinking very differently and says, "Hey, there's loopholes here." So a 17-year-old person who's going to sell a new product might have a better angle at it. So your asset is actually you not knowing the market. You knowing the market well makes you an old timer who's set in their ways.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying? Your asset,
Totally.
right? Your asset, your
Make it a
inexperience,
strength.
right, is make it a strength. Yeah. What
love
you
that.
think is a weakness, turn it around.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got a great product.
Right.
I just don't know how to market it yet, but I'm going to learn,
Right.
right?
Totally.
Store owner.
I love that.
Yeah. Just, my wings, don't clip my wings. Just, try it out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then one of the things we kind of touched on earlier is like I was trying to underball my price and be like, oh, I can like price it here, and you were like, no, don't do that because it actually hurts your product. So how do you find kind of that perfect place?
There is no perfect place until the resistance is big enough that nobody buys it.
Okay.
That is the perfect place. You can continue to this can go for $70. You're not sure, but you see the face? That's not good. Like your face should have been like, really? I can get that? I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
You see listen, I was there. I was in the same spot. I was like, oh my God, I gotta price it at this number because I can sell so much more. But says who?
Right.
Right? And then I increased the price and it still sold. I increased the price more and it still sold. I increased the price more and still people, but your audience base changes. Think about it, right? A person who's willing to spend this much money, you have this pool. But you are not targeting this pool yet. When you step up to the price point, you're targeting a different pool now. You follow what I'm saying?
Right, and it's kind of hitting the right target, almost.
Exactly. You're hitting the right target. So thinking that you are you're swimming in the wrong pool for the moment if you're thinking at $20.
Well, yeah.
Of course. Right, but you can still sell.
Well, yeah.
Right. But the volume is not necessary. It's not like you're selling it at TJ Maxx or Home Goods. You're selling it at little boutique shops. And
Right.
boutique shops need huge margins. So they need 2.7 times your sale price. It's not like if you're selling it to them for $1, they need to be able to sell it for 2.5.
Right.
Right? So you got to which means increasing the price. Like if you make this $60, you can sell it for them for 35, or you make it $65, you can sell it for 35, and then you got yourself a little cushion there. But the perception is also another thing that you got to worry about.
Right.
More expensive always means it's better.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. At the end of the day, subconsciously, it does.
Yeah.
But it also means you put a lot of energy into this thing.
Yeah.
That's an expensive vessel.
Yeah.
Between the wax fragrance and everything else, a lot of hand labor.
Crystal.
And so
Yeah.
that's, What else you need to know? Right out of the gate for the next 15, 20 days.
What advice do you have to give to someone in their 20s, especially someone that like has a lot of ideas in their head, or like has a lot of things they want to try out, and what now? Kind of what we were saying before.
Just keep doing everything that you can possibly humanly do. Keep trying everything.
Yeah.
That's like, how do you know in a restaurant what item on the menu is good or not if you haven't tasted it?
Right.
So you gotta taste. You gotta go out and do your things, right? You gotta try this, you gotta try, and they all lead to one place, by the way. So people get the wrong idea that if you do multiple things, you're so diluted. It's not. You're honing a skill. You're honing your sales skill. The number one thing you need to know is how to sell. Sales solves all problems.
What's your sales advice?
Don't think about yourself ever.
Yeah.
Think about the ultimate person who's buying that product Are you providing something valuable to them, and what is that
Yeah.
value?
That's like the Gary Vee quote.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's you got to think about.
Jab, 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 right hook was the book.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, does the ultimate user, end user,
Right.
are you providing value to the ultimate end user? Do they need your product in the way you're making it for them?
Right.
If you don't think about them, you're going to go to the wrong store. You're going to fail. If you don't you got to think about the person who wants to use this. What is the psyche of that person?
Yeah.
And just find your way back to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the one thing that you've got to focus on.
Yeah.
When we design something, I'm thinking, does my customer who has, give me that Buddha for a second, right?
Oh, and this is one of my favorite candles, by
Okay.
the way, this Buddha.
Okay, so this Buddha, right, monster, can they put it in their home and make it beautiful in a particular space? Can they decorate with it? Can they make it smell great? Can they use it afterwards? Can they, all the things you touch on, there's a zillion people who will say yes to that question.
Yeah.
And that, understand your end user.
Yeah.
You gotta understand the end user.
When I had this Skinny Confidential on the podcast, she told me when she was creating her blog, and she created a page that was like, she gave her avatar, or like her reader, she made it one person, gave her a name, figured out like what outfit she wears, what she has every morning, the first thing she does when she wakes up, like everything to like, made like a character almost.
You're talking about she was talking to that person.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Listen, and that gave her a very focused direction.
Yeah, especially with writing.
Right, and then what that ended up probably doing is that whoever understood that came on that train.
And the way you read her content is very personal.
That's the other thing.
That's
Like
what
you
I
have to
try to
be, literally you have to be in touch with every human being you possibly can.
Yeah.
It is just the answer. It's like, at the end of the day, a brand is nothing more than a community.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. You would not buy Prada that wouldn't exist if you didn't exist. You are part of their community, right? They're people at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You're servicing people. It's always people. It's always
Right.
it's always a community. Prada as a brand only exists so long as that community believes in the brand. When the community dies, Prada dies with it,
Right.
right? So so you got to worry about who, not the brand. The brand is just it's just a bucket that holds the community together.
Right.
So you, at the end of the day, have to compile a community for yourself, and that becomes your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Who you are, how you treat people, get to know you, and it's like anything else. A one-to-one relationship is one-to a community relationship. It's no different.
Yeah.
If you're crappy to that community, they will drop you in a second.
Yeah.
They will.
Totally.
That's it.
For
I know.
sure. And do you have anything else you want to share before we head out?
Just keep doing. Just don't stop. Keep doing. Keep trying. You're gonna take a lot of punches, which is gonna be part of the game plan. Expect, invite it.
Okay.
Like when it comes,
You're my mentor.
invite it. Invite the punches, because it's just the only way.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And when you were kind of having, like, first launching your company and you came across something where you're like, I have no idea. Did you have a mentor you looked toward, or did you just Google it, or what was, when someone's trying to figure out something that they've never done before, like, what sort of a specific kind of, what's the thing you do?
And I'm 55, so trial by error was my thing. Today, that computer has all the answers for you.
I love Google.
Google is
I Google everything.
right? So trial by error was the way to do it, but that gave you some insight as well. See, the Google isn't going to give you all the answers. There's human behavior, intuition. There's reading body language, reading like how somebody's standoffish, how somebody's really wants to do something with you. You got to know tonalities on the phone. If you're on the phone and somebody says, "Hey, you know what? Not now," but you can hear that they want to talk to you, right? You learn
Reading
that.
energy.
Exactly, which is what you are all about.
Yeah,
But
this is
reading that
fundamental.
reading that energy is so important, because ultimately, you're learning and you're honing your skill of communicating to them, be it by product, by words, from the first minute they see you to the minute they buy your product and come back, right? You are saying something.
Yeah.
You are speaking along the way. So you got to have your DNA, your message, your content, your who you are clear to them.
Yeah.
It's got to be clear to them. You know, stick to one subject in your case, and then let the other things, what you don't know how to do, let that be exploratory. But if you know your spiritual side, well, that's where you like put your hooks in,
Right.
and then say, okay, I'm developing this product around it.
Yeah.
And people know you for that.
Totally.
That's it.
And do you have a certain thing, like, that tip that you have that either you do your calendar a certain way, or a morning routine, or a to-do list, like things that help you be more productive? And I mean, you manage a company and everything, so I'm sure you have a lot on your plate.
Faith.
Faith.
Huge.
I agree.
Faith is huge. I will tell you, faith, optimism, persistence, and perseverance, none of these can live alone.
Do you have
You
a
can-
practice you do?
No, not really.
Okay.
But I believe that those you can't have persistence without faith. You can't have optimism. Like you gotta be an optimistic person. You have to say it's gonna work.
Right.
You have to have hope, but you can't have hope and not execute. So you have to be persistent. You have to do all of them.
So what was it?
You have perseverance,
Perseverance.
Faith. optimism,
Optimism.
persistence,
Persistence.
and
Hope.
Hope, yeah, of course. So, but you have to. Those are like you have to have all of them equally as intense as you can.
Yeah.
You can't have four of them without. You can't have all of them and have no hope, because you're hopeless then,
Yeah.
right? Think about it. You
Yeah.
can't. You can be hopeful, but if you don't execute, you're dead again. If you don't have persistence, you're gonna fail and then you're gonna stop.
Yeah.
So you gotta have them, all of them.
Mhm.
And that's the way I look at it is, you gotta have, because we take punches all day long.
Yeah.
Business is like daily punching bag.
Yeah.
It's how many times do you think you're gonna walk into a store and they're gonna say yes to you? A lot less than they're gonna say yes is 10%.
I know, I'm nervous.
Yeah, but invite it though, right?
Yeah.
If you invite it and say, okay, I'm gonna get a no, right? But I'm gonna try for the yes. I'm gonna make sure that I get a yes. I'm gonna plan for the yes. When the no comes, it's a number. It's okay,
Right.
so on to the next one. But it's not personal. It's not like, but don't get me wrong. Today is a no.
Right.
Tomorrow might be still a yes.
Yeah.
That's the hope part, right? The persistent part is coming back to them. Perseverance is to say, what did I do wrong, to go back and look at their store better, and hey, you know what, maybe this product wasn't for them, but because you're in that particular field, something else might be better for them. A pure oil might be better for them.
Right.
You don't realize how much, if you have all those five and then you say, I want to be in that store.
Mhm.
I want to be in that store, and you'll figure it out.
Okay. That's really good advice for me. Thank you.
Alright.
And I have a few friends that are kind of in the same position as me right now, so I know that a lot of people, like, there's advice for people, you know, like getting started, getting the idea, and getting everything, and then advice for people that have a business. But I've found personally, like, that little in-between spot is just like, oh my God, what do I do? So I'm glad we did this podcast.
Yeah, your answer is just do.
Yeah, just do.
Just do it.
Love it.
Because a year goes by so fast, and if you remember, every day you're trading a day of your life against something.
Yeah,
If it's against nothing, your day is gone.
right.
Poof. So why don't you trade it in for something that you executed against, even
Right.
if it's a try.
I'm going to try tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes.
There you go. All right.
Thank you so much
You're
for listening.
welcome.
Thank you so much.